In this video, I'm going to show you how I make these lovely flower jug vases using a pottery template. The first thing that I do is I roll a large thin slab of clay. It's a good idea to run a rib tool over both sides of the slab after it's been rolled to give it a smooth finish. I then put the largest piece of the paper template onto the slab and cut around it with my clay knife. This is a template that I've designed, and you can get a copy of it in my Etsy store if you'd like one. I'll put a link in the description below. I then cut out all the other parts of the template too. This smaller arc is going to be the rim of the flower jug. The template has been designed so that the pieces fit together perfectly and enables you to make sets of pottery that are the same size and shape. I then cut out the circular base of the flower jug and also the handle. When the slabs are soft enough to bend but firm enough to pick up, I start to assemble the bottom portion of the jug. The first thing that I do is I bevel both short straight edges of the large slab. These two edges are going to overlap and join together. So, after I've beveled them, I score into them with my clay scoring tool. I lift the slab and curve it into a cone shape. It helps to lift the cone onto a rotating banding wheel. I apply slip to both of the scored edges. Slip is just liquid clay. I line the two edges up with each other and start to press them together. I work my way up and down the seam a few times. Then I use a rubber rib to compress the edges together and to smooth the surface. Blend the inside surface of the join together with a wooden modelling tool, then smooth it over with the rubber rib. I turn the clay cone over and repeat the process with the wider end of the cone too. Once I've made the clay cone, I put it on top of an old smooth plastic bowl to keep the wide end of the cone nice and round. I also put an old plastic container in the other end to keep the narrower end round as well. I score all the way around the circular base of the flower jug and around the wide edge of the clay cone. Then I paint slip onto both scored surfaces. It'll be hard to put a clay coil on the inside of the join, so I want to make sure that the two edges are bonded together well, so I apply quite a lot of slip. I lower the bottom half of the jug onto the base. When the slip is still quite liquid, you can wiggle the bottom edge of the clay cone into position so that it's nice and central on the base. I trim a little bit of excess clay off, and then I blend the base of the jug onto the bottom edge. Now it's time to tidy up the join. First, I press all the way around the edge of the base gently to make sure that it's attached well. Then I use the flat edge of a wooden modelling tool to scrape away some of the rough clay along the bottom edge. I slice a bead of clay from around the bottom edge with my clay knife. Then I use a piece of damp chamois leather to smooth down the surface and soften off the edge around the base. This is going to be the rim of the jug. I bevel the shorter curved edge. This is going to be the edge that sits on the top rim of the lower portion. Beveling the short curve helps the edges to sit flat against each other. Then I bevel the two short edges so that they will overlap. I smooth the longer curved edge. It's easier to smooth this edge when the rim is flat. Then I score into both short edges. I curve the slab around to form the shape of the rim. Apply slip to both short ends and then press and blend them together. To attach the rim to the lower half of the jug, I score both edges that will join together. I add a generous amount of slip to both scored edges. Then I lower the rim into position. It's important to turn the jug around and make sure that the two edges are lined up well and then press them together. Once they're lined up and bonded together a bit, I use my fingertips to blend the join on the inside surface of the jug. I then use a fine wooden tool to blend the join all the way around the neck on the outside and the inside of the jug. This is the handle strip that I cut out earlier on. I smooth each of the 4 edges of the strip with a damp chamois leather. Then I curve the strip into a handle shape and leave it to firm up until it's leather hard. I trim the handle to length, then I use my clay knife to cut a concave shape in both ends of the handle. Next, I line the handle up and use my clay knife to make some small marks on the outside surface of the jug. I score into the clay at both points where the handle will be attached. Once I've pressed the handle into position, I wrap a thin clay coil around the join between the handle and the jug. I press the coil into the join and then use my wooden tool to blend the coil onto the handle and onto the jug. Then I wipe away any marks left behind by the wooden modelling tool. And here's the finished flower jug, ready to be dried and then fired. There's a link in the description below if you'd like to get a copy of the flower jug template. Thanks for watching, bye!